Why are you standing up in the kitchen? What are you doing?
Greetings and salutations. You see me adjust my pole. Don't adjust your dial. Don't adjust your channel. It is me in the front. It is King David B on Jockwave TV. Welcome to the show, the David Brewer Show. Thank you for joining me, even though nobody's watching. You know, they say that TV is reserved for those with eccentric actions and eccentric actions. I wouldn't call myself eccentric. I'd call myself David B, the King. Thank you very much. News does not come on Sunday mornings on Fox TV. This is a reality show. Jockwave TV Sunday morning. I do random things at random times. I walk around. You can see me. You can't see me. When I turn around, you're going to see me in better light because I'm dark, I'm black, and this is what happens with black people. I remember when I was in elementary school, we had to take pictures. And, you know, still being like, I think one of the two black people in my classroom, I was kind of in a spot that they like, we have to like maybe lighten up this area so we can see your face. I didn't realize I was that dark. You know, you don't realize how dark you are as a black person until you come around either other dark people or other white people. And since I was around a lot of white people, I look darker. But around black people, they're like, you ain't that dark. And I'm like, what? I thought I was dark. They were like, no, you're not dark. You just like, I mean, you're dark, but you ain't, you know, you're not that dark. You just like on a, if there was a level, I would be on the light side of dark. And I'm like, I didn't realize that. But I enjoy my dark skin because I'm cute. I'm sexy. Yeah. And you think I am too. Is that what I come here to talk about today? It is, thank you, honey. What we came to talk about today on this reality show, there's nothing specific. We came to talk about whatever I feel like talking about. It's Sunday. Most people talk about church. All those who believe in Jesus talk about church on Sunday. Talk about Jesus on Sunday. I don't care. See, this is a reality show, so I don't care what's around, what's going on. Doesn't matter. One day I'm gonna have my own T-shirt. I'm gonna have a T-shirt that says Jockwave TV. I'm gonna have a T-shirt that says David Brewer Show. I'm gonna have a T-shirt that says King David B. And I wear different shirts on different days, but today is not that doggone day. That's the truth. So while I'm having my coffee, we're potty training today. So maybe he needs to sit on the pot and go to poo-poo. I would turn it. See, I don't have my camera is operating on my laptop. I have my laptop here and I'm sitting here. You know, so I can't really motion the camera over without doing a lot of work, but lifting the whole computer and turning it, which is possible. Good morning. Purely, it's possible. Yeah, just sit him down there, and then you can come back and eat your cereal. Make sure his Petey Wee's draws in there. Yum 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 yum. So Sunday morning, I'm certain that me and my family are going to talk about Jesus today on Jockwave TV. We definitely. My wife turned to Fox, which has Joel Osteen on it. We will not be watching that garbage. Let me say, Joel Osteen is a great motivational speaker. He is not a man of God, as pertains as it is in the Word of God, which means somebody who believes in the Father, the Son, and the Holy Ghost, and believes in what they teach specifically. Joel Osteen is a person who believes a number of things. So that's why I don't attest him to be a man of God. He's a man of some God. Now, don't get me wrong. He's a man of some God, but not the God of not the God, the Father of Jesus Christ, or the God of the Holy Bible. That's not the man of God he is. Like the Bible would put it, his God is his appetite. That would be Joel Osteen's God. So he's a man of God, but it's not the Holy Bible God. Yeah, I said it. I don't care. So what are we here to talk about? You know what I was saying to myself? I would like to interview people. I guess I gotta slide in DMs and say, "Can I interview you?" And then the question is, where am I going to interview them? Because would I like them to come to this house and interview them? Not really. But we gotta start somewhere, right? Maybe I can go to their house. But I like to interview celebrities. And I quote unquote so-called. They are considered celebrities because people know them. Who else would I like? And because I would take my one subscriber and make it into many. That's the whole point. Who else would I like to interview? I like to interview church leaders. I was prompted with the question when I was sitting in the so-called pastor's chair. I guess it's the chair that the pastor normally sits in. And I was asked a question when I said that, I am a pastor. And I was asked a question like, well, who ordained you? And I said, the Holy Ghost. Who ordained that man there? Some man? I think I got one up on him. The man ordained him. I don't wish to be ordained by man. I wish to be ordained by the one who ordained me, which is, or who is, the Holy Ghost. Oh, did I take your spot? Huh? Oh, that's my son over there. He's a little shy. Likes little things, like talk a little quiet. He's one of them quiet talkers. That's my other son. He's the youngest. He's not a quiet talker. He talks like his mom.
Really?
Yeah, So she, my wife is quiet to a certain extent. She's quiet in the sense that if she don't know you, she ain't gonna talk. However, what's funny about black folks is we make stuff up. We just take words and start using them any way we want to. However, basically, at the end of the day, and we think that's really intelligent sounding when you say at the end of the day, basically, however, thus and so. That's the other son. He's whispering to his mom about eating cereal. Apparently, he doesn't know how to put cereal back the way he got it. And this is the problem with my children right now. They don't know how to put things back the way they got it. So I'm trying to teach them how to put things back the way that they received it. My son opened up the donuts that I had yesterday, and he was just going to leave the donuts open. He didn't get it like that. When he asked for one, they was closed. He opened it up, got a donut, and was going to leave it open as if that's okay. And I'm trying to figure out, I question myself, did we do that when we was younger? Did we just leave stuff open? Maybe we did. We just don't. I don't remember it because by the time I do remember it, I was closing stuff. But by the time I did remember it, I had learned to put stuff back the way it goes. What's the question? Didn't you already answer that? What did your mom say you should have? What does it say on the front of it?
That was you?
No, that doesn't. What's the other side say? The other front, sir. See what I mean? The other front. My tone comes across as harsh because I don't have some sweet, hey, boy, how are you doing there? I don't have that tone necessarily, unless you're like a baby, and then I can talk like that a little bit. But with these big children, you can't really just be like, hey, ooh. That's what mothers are supposed to do. That's not fathers. Fathers don't do that. I have a patience issue that I'm working on. I'm working on patience. That's the thunder and lightning that you hear. It's raining it's raining down bloody murder outside. I like rain. That's one of my favorite things to watch is rain. So you say, why are you on camera talking about absolutely nothing? You're not informing me. It's somewhat entertaining. You're not funny. You're black. What else? You're not educating me on anything. You're talking about your family. Who cares about your family? Who cares about how you talk to your kids? Who cares about waking up in the morning having coffee? Joel Osteen's a nice guy to me. That's the purpose of that. This is Jockwave TV. I am King David B, and this is the David Brewer Show, live and direct. You see, when you come on live TV, you can pretty much say, there's no script for my show. Even when I am not live, I don't have a script. I just do better editing so that I can correct myself and it looks like I'm saying what I want to say. And, I'm trying to take pointers from people that I watch all the time. A lot of people that I watch, though, do a lot of blogging type shows. They take information and they are informing people of things. Excuse me, like a lot of people are informing you about what do you call it? Celebrity news, gossip, whatever. I'm not a gossiper, so I'm not gonna do any gossiping. What I talk about is going to be truth or my opinion. It's either going to be truth or my opinion, and I will make sure you know the truth or my opinion. Just like with Joel Osteen, some people might say something different. I'm giving you what I believe it is to be, and I say I believe it, which means I believe I'm right. Now, you can say what you want to about it, but that's just what it is. Now, gossip would be, I heard somebody say something. Nobody told me that about Joel Osteen. That is what I deduced from what I've seen him do. That is my deduction from what I've seen him do. My little son sitting on a pot looking at me eating food. He's cute and funny. He's my co-host sometimes. Not speaking good English yet, but he can speak. What else am I here to talk about today? I have no specific topics really. I did have something in my mind because, like I said, on this Sunday, those of us who attest to be Christians normally have something to talk about. We normally either go to church or we do church. As they do church, it means you assemble yourselves and talk about Jesus on Sundays. Some of us assemble ourselves and talk about Jesus on Saturday. We have Bible study on Wednesday or Tuesdays or Wednesdays. We also have services on Fridays. Some of us. You have it as much as you, I guess, want to and need to and desire to be there. But the idea is that you don't just talk about Jesus on one day. You talk about him every day. I talk about Jesus every day, pretty much. So, especially when you're reading Facebooks and YouTubes where people are bashing Jesus or bashing, because people won't say that they're bashing Jesus. They say, well, no. We are bashing Christians, people who claim to be Christ-like or who desire to be Christ-like. We're bashing the religion of Christianity. I hear a lot of this religion bashing. I hear religion bashing in religious circles, such as church. Christians bash other Christians about religion. which is hilarious. Do we know the definition of religion? Look, I was talking to my pastor one time, and he had made he asked me the question because I had an issue with something that he said that I thought was wrong. And I told him about, I didn't believe in that, a doctrine that I believe that teaching kind of goes toward. And he basically was saying, do you know what doctrine means? And I'm like, yeah, like a teaching system, a system that you teach. And he was like, no, it's a belief system or something like that. But I'm like, so I looked it up and I'm like, yeah, it's a belief system that you teach though. So I just didn't use belief in that system. It's a teaching system. It's something that you teach, what you believe to be right. You're teaching. Doctrine is you are teaching what you believe to be correct. So that is the doctrine. But I thought about that because I think, sometimes we get into that. VP? Did he use the bathroom? Okay. Count to 60 and then put him back on the pot. No, count to 120 and put him back on the pot. Can you do that for me? Is that a yes or a no? Yes. Oh, okay. Because we don't speak, sign language here. Not that I wouldn't, but we don't speak sign language. We don't speak head nods. When I was growing up, if you gave somebody a head nod, you didn't like them. Cardi B was talking about what'd you say? If I don't speak to you, what is it? How's it go? How's the song? Y'all know how to go. If I don't talk to you, it's on the boat. Huh?
You don't talk to me?
No, man. It's on Bodak Yellow. I can't remember the song. Let me pull it up. See, this is the benefits of live television while it's thunder and lightning. If you don't, then while I'm talking,
Is it real?
no.
I don't know.
My wife said, "Is it red bottoms?" Like,
I just know she rap.
Yeah, it says, now, bear with me now. No, I don't want to choose, and I'm quick, cut it off, so don't get comfortable. Look, I don't dance now. I make money move.
That's red bottoms.
No, that song's not called Red Bottoms.
Oh.
If I see you and I don't speak, that means I don't with you. I'm a boss. You a worker. I don't want to use the whole bloody thing. I remember growing up, I used to wear red all day long. This is in the 90s, 80s and late 80s, 90s. I say early 90s, but yeah, it was early 90s. I used to wear red all the time. All the time. That was my thing. My shoes always had some red in it. My outfit had some red in it. Yeah, put them back on the pot. My outfit had some red in it. So I remember in high school, I was a freshman in high school, I had this red outfit, red jeans, red white striped shirt. And I had these nice Reebok Classic leathers on, boom. I had other red outfits too, but it was just interesting because everybody thought I was in the gang. And I was like, I ain't in no gang. I just like wearing red. That's just my favorite color. I don't care. And I just wasn't in no gang. Like, I thought it was interesting because people was like, oh, you blood? And it's like, no, I am not. I'm David B. I'm David B. I'm the king. I'm a descendant of kings, man. I don't do that. I don't blood. I don't know if I just couldn't be in the gang. I couldn't be in that type of gang, in the street gang. I don't know. I did remember one time that, maybe I would have did organized crime at some point in time, but that's a long time ago. Before I found the Lord, before I found Jesus, before Jesus found me and I found him and we found each other. I would say he probably didn't find me first. He knew me first, and then I found him. I should say it like that. Let's put it like that. So Cardi B was like, look, if I see you and I don't speak, that means I don't mess with you. But that's what it is. So when you give somebody a head nod, they ask you a question, and you don't speak, that means you got a problem, where I come from. I ain't coming from too far, but when I say come from, not only the city I was born in, that just means from where my mind is at. If you don't speak to people, that's disrespect. Period. I know, but she ain't got no muscles over her neck. She can't hold her head up, so it just goes back.
No, I'm saying I be having her hand in the bag. She keep trying to do like that. Oh, she's on the pot.
Yeah, she's trying to move. But she has no control over her neck. That's why I said, that's what I was talking about. This is Chocolate TV. I'm King David B, and this is the David Brewer Show. We have no sponsors. We have no monetary values. We have no, what do you call it? Basically, we are not funded by anybody or anything other than what YouTube allows me to put on here and myself. So he said, if this wasn't a free service, would you be doing it? Probably not today. I wouldn't. I do pay for a podcast that I have on a site named Spreaker.com. My podcast is called The David Brewer Show. My last show was on the 6th, where I talked about, a number of things. I would, I could go there and talk about, some of those things, but sometimes the easiest thing to do is to jump on here live. People are like, why don't you do it this way? I don't want to do it the way people have done it before. I don't want to be like everybody else. I want to do it differently. I want to be different. I just want to give my opinion, I can say some facts and then give my opinions. And then sometimes I just want to talk. And I have you to talk to. You understand? And I drink my coffee on a Sunday morning. Yes, Sunday morning. I love music. And what's crazy is I love music. I grew up with music in my house all the time. And right now we don't play music like I used to hear growing up. My children have no affinity to listening to music. They know nothing about listening to music. And they have no inkling or idea or desire to learn. Well, my son does, like my baby son. He wants music. Right now he's listening to like baby music. So I'm not trying to put, garbage in his ear. I wouldn't play Bodak Yellow for my son, my 1-year-old. I ain't playing, I'm a boy. I wouldn't play that for my baby boy. That would be detrimental to his learning. Not that Cardi B doesn't have clever lyrics. They are interesting, but they are more so for people who are, I would say, older. Older than 1 year old, definitely. And I would say probably at least 14 or 15, maybe they're rated R. So what's rated R? 17 and up? Okay, there you go. I like Cardi B. I think, like I said, when I first seen Cardi B on Love and Hip Hop, I thought she was annoying as all good gracious. And then she was annoying. Cardi B was annoying at first. And then I was like, okay, she's not annoying. She's just different. And then so her annoying became cute. It was kind of like you would like a baby, like oh, they're odd. What happened?
I popped her on the head. He keeps getting mad. He can't get my phone.
Oh. You see what happens when in the background? This is real life. This is what we do. This is where we at, baby. Yeah. So you hear all the noise in the background? You feel that? Yeah. No, I am not a comedian. Although I would like to try stand up, I might get booed off stage. I might would have Eminem say I was spit at and what do you say? I was spit at and come on and booed off stage. It might happen if I do comedy. That means I have to write some jokes, or at least tell funny stories. I don't think I'd be a joke writer. I think I'd be more of a storyteller. Just tell, like maybe like a Jerry Seinfeld and Kevin Hart. I'm not really, I'm a fan of Kevin Hart. I don't know if I would be like a Kevin Hart type guy because Kevin Hart is a little bit. He reminds me of friends I've had. So I don't see myself as a Kevin Hart type fellow. I'm more like, who's that one guy? Maybe a George Carlin, who tells interesting things, who says interesting things and has interesting anecdotes and things like that, but it's just kind of talking. There's no like, bleh, and bleh. He doesn't do a lot of, the antics that some do. So I've seen a lot of comedians.
Why are you holding the stand right there? I thought you trying to get my attention.
Yeah, so thank you for joining me live. Those who are joining me. I know who's joining me is actually nobody. Live TV. Nobody joining me. That's okay. This is Jockwave TV. My name is King David B, and this is the David Brewer Show, live and direct. First day, live, 6/9/2019. One of the big things that we talk about, or that has been talked about recently, is the Central Park 5 case. Because of the Netflix series that has come on about the case, and recently, within the past week, I would say Linda Fairstein, I believe her name is, the one of the orchestrators.
Did you press the light on there?
Of the, what's the right word I'm using? Trying to use one of the. Was she a prosecutor? But she was definitely the heading up the prosecution team of the Central Park jogger rape. And on April 19th, 1989, the story on Netflix is When They See Us. She's been, I guess, she's chopped off her Twitter account, I believe. That's what I heard. Her Twitter account no longer exists because I'm sure she's receiving some threatening messages. And she also, don't let him over there with the phone by the baby, please, because he likes to throw phones. So that's like the big talker for the past week or so has been that Central Park. I say the Netflix series When They See Us, but also the Central Park jogger case. You have a side that says, "Hey, these men are exonerated. They were proven to be not guilty." And then you have a side that says, "No. This was brilliant police work. We prosecuted. We did everything by the book." And so you're left with, the interpretation of, okay, you say, okay, if you watch that movie, it looks like, okay, hey, yeah, it looks like they coerced. But the police officer are like, we didn't do that. That's not how it works. If you want to prove what you're saying is true, show us the videotape of you guys in the room. Show us the non-edited videotape of you guys in the room taking the confession from the kids. That's what we need to see. Give us the recording that you have that shows that you guys followed let me say policy. Follow the policy or the laws to to the way you got the confessions. Show us. It's real easy. A lot of things were a lot of testimony was like edited. A lot of things were a lot of the videos were a lot of videos were edited. A lot of documents were doctored. A lot. So, and like I said, we're not mentioning the guy who was once there, who was not there anymore, who was part of the Central Park Five, which I understand there was Central Park. There was actually like 6 or 7, but I think one guy for sure. His name is Steve Lopez, and he worked out a deal because they didn't have a confession of him saying he did it. They tried to get him to say on tape that he did it, but when they got to the tape part of the interview, he recanted everything. He's like, I didn't do it. I wasn't there. So they couldn't prosecute him like everybody else. So they made a deal. He made a deal with so he never seen, I don't think he ever went to jail. I'm not sure if he went to jail or if he didn't, to be honest. But I don't believe he was on stand. I don't think he took the stand against those gentlemen either. Those young, against the people he supposedly knew. None of those children knew each other. Other than Corey and Yusuf. Yusuf wasn't on tape. Yusuf Salam wasn't on tape. He never got it. They don't have a recording of him either. However, I guess he's implicated on other people's recordings. I think they had to get Corey to say Yusuf was there because the only way they could get Yusuf is through Corey, because Corey was actually not even a suspect. He just came down to the police station just because his friend was down there. Like, let me just go and make sure nothing happens to him. That's the only reason why he was there. So they had to get him to implicate him. Otherwise, they wouldn't have had his name either. Yeah. And that's how that works. What else? But it's an interesting case. It's very interesting that like I said, what's interesting about the whole case is that you have one side that says, no, we did everything right. The other side says, hey, they did everything wrong. You have the confession tapes. You have the tapes of the confession. But you can tell even when you watch the tape that they allow us to watch, the parts that they allow us to see, you can tell with those tapes that those kids didn't know what they were talking about. Now, I personally am an expert at interrogation. I went to a police officer one time and I asked him, I said, hey, can I just, I think he was a sergeant, I'm not sure, but he came through a subway I was working at a long time ago. And I said to him, I say, can I join the police office, can I join the police department just to be an interrogator? I wanted to know that because I'm good at interrogation. I have the interrogation tactics down to a science, my own science. However, I interrogate for truth, not for, and I'm sure that's what most police interrogate for. And I would imagine that's what most investigators interrogate to do, is to find the truth. I think it's apparent that this was a gross abuse of power. And all they need to do is say, you're right, I'm sorry. That would have meant a lot, just to say, look, we were just trying to find the guy. And we did it by any means necessary. We found somebody. and I didn't mean to do this. I would like for just one person to come out and say, one of the people that were inside of that are still alive, to come out and say, we did wrong. We did, okay? We did. That wasn't originally, that was not what we were trying to do. We were just trying to find the person who did it. I know we didn't have enough evidence. We didn't have enough evidence, and we had to get them to turn on each other. And that's how we kind of made it happen. That's all I have to do is just admit the fact that it's clear that it happened. It's clear. It's clear. The guy who did it had his DNA everywhere. These boys had no DNA on themselves or in the crime scene. Yeah, you hear me? Even though they had, even the one that they had dirty clothes, like your clothes are dirty. There was no blood. There was no blood. Her DNA, their DNA in the crime scene. There was nothing there. I'd like to talk to at least one juror. Where are the jurors that were there? I want to talk to a juror that was there. I want one of the jurors to come out and say what the heck happened in that jury deliberation. There's no possible way that without any evidence you can convict these people. There was no evidence. It wasn't even circumstantial. There was no evidence. You're like, well, they said they did it. Even them saying they did it, still, like there was a guy, I don't know if you guys remember this. There was a guy who said he was a guy whose little boy missing. You remember that, honey? The guy that said that he was a missing little boy from 14 years ago.
Oh yeah.
The little boy just came out. White boy went missing. There was a white guy that came out on TV and said, "I'm him. I'm the little boy that was missing from 14 years ago." Guess what they did? They investigated whether he was telling the truth or not. They didn't just say, well, he confessed, so it must be him. So it doesn't make any sense why you're saying, well, they confessed, so it must be true. Yeah. With no evidence. None. Nothing proved that these children did this crime. They had no DNA. There was no blood. There was nothing anywhere. All you had was their confessions. That's it. None of their confessions even made sense because they all were different from each other. And it's like, well, there got to be something to bring it all together. For real, what's that? It's a line from the movie JFK. They were picking that crap out of pepper.
Stop it. No.
So it's just. I want to know. I want to talk to a juror. If there are any jurors alive, I would love to interview. If not one, all of them, if possible, I'd like to interview them and have them tell me how they managed to convict people without any evidence. Or else you'd have to claim that there must have been some type of jury tampering as well. Like you put people in there, like people had to been put in there that that were paid by the higher, the officials there. What is going on there? You all right? Oh, okay. Yeah, sometimes you gotta stop and think, kids are kids. He said, "Oh, do you know would you believe your son?" I would rather, which is funny because Antron's dad. This is one of the most tragic things that happened to me. That really ticked me off in that movie, or in that predicament. And like I said, with the story, let me say the movie, but with the story, because this is a real story. It's a true story. What really ticked me off of that story, the story, is that Antron's dad actually told him to lie and tell him whatever they want to hear, so that he wouldn't go to jail, or so that he wouldn't lose his job. That's really what it was about. So that I won't lose my job, tell them whatever they want to hear. That's really what it was. And that ticked me off, and why you can tell that boy to lie just so you won't lose your job. Like, wouldn't you say that makes you think about parents, right? And say, would a parent sacrifice themselves for their child? Huh? Some parents would not. A lot of parents wouldn't sacrifice themselves for their child. It's amazing to see. He said, well, that's the man. A woman would have did it. Bull crap. A lot of parents would have did the same thing. Oh, you're gonna lose your job. He had a good job for 5 years. I don't think it matters. He was wrong. I think most good parents, maybe he was a good parent. I don't know. But I think most good people would have sacrificed themselves. Like, no, you can call my boss if you want to. Tell him whatever you like, Mr. Officer. But I'm not going to tell my son to do nothing but tell the truth. And if he didn't do it, he didn't do it. Call whoever you want to call, homie. I would have said it just like that. Call whoever you want to call. My son is going to, he didn't do it. He wasn't there. Test his clothes. Oh, what? I don't know what else to say about that. It's tragic that they had to go through that. But even more tragic is the lack of apology that came, given the fact that they were wrong. But it's kind of like you can't expect that, because have the courts or prosecutors or the police apologized for anything that they've done wrong in the past? Really? Have they? Something with this magnitude, because this is all over the news, you would think that they would say. I'll say you would think that one person would come out and say, hey, you know what, we did that and we were wrong, and yes, we did. I would like for somebody to come out and say, I would like for a juror to come out too. I want to talk to somebody else on the jury. We're avoiding the jury. The jury convicted these people. The jury did. Now, there was a bad prosecution all around, but the jury actually went back into a room and came back out and said these men are guilty. These boys are guilty. That's even the word. That's the craziest thing, with no evidence, none. And you telling me that they did their job as a jury? They sat there and heard absolutely nothing but a tape, and they said, okay, yeah, well, you see on the tape, they said they did it. Who would say they did it if they didn't do it? Like I said, I can get my kids to tell a lie. As an interrogator, I can get people to say something that they don't want to say. They'll go back and say, well, I didn't mean to say it like that. That's not what it means. Or I can get my kids, little children, to say some things, to admit to something that they didn't do, just so I can get done with it. That's what kids do. That's what all kids do. I say all kids do that. I'm gonna say, when I say all, let me not say all. I'm gonna say 80% of kids are gonna say what you want to hear, so they can be done. I'm talking about as parents. Now, I'm not talking about at the police station. As parents, kids want to get. I don't want to be talked to no more. I don't want to be yelled at. I don't want to. I don't want to hear you yelling at me. So I'm just going to tell you what you want to hear, which is a bad thing. So you have to teach your children not to do that. But the truth is, in the black communities, and I'm going to say it like this: in the black communities, we do teach our kids to tell us what we want to hear, so we can feel better about ourselves and our parenting. I don't want to do that, and I've never done that with any of my children. I want them to tell me the truth, even if it hurts me, and if it hurts them, tell the truth. Because, like I said, I'm an interrogator. I know when somebody's lying. It's a blessing. It's a blessing it's a blessing. It's a gift that I was born with, to be able to do that. I didn't have to go to school to receive that gift of interrogation, of knowing people, and studying people. I didn't have to go to school for that. It's just something that I'm naturally good at. I know how to do it. I know all the tactics. So, and then if you watch enough movies and TV shows, at this point in time, you can get information from anywhere. I learn not just from what I do in life. I learn from what I see on TV. I learn from what other people do. I watch people. I study things. I'm an analytical person by nature. Like I said, I was born with the analytical brain. So that's what happens. It's just interesting. I want to talk to a juror. Give me a juror. Juror. Tell me one of the 12 jurors or one of the 24 jurors that were in those 2 cases. Give me one of those jurors. I want to talk to somebody that was in that room talking about whether these kids were guilty or not guilty. Please, somebody come forward. Out of all the 0 people who are watching me, somebody find them. Tell me who they were. I'd like to interview them. Who else would I like to interview? He said that, my wife and kids be like, Dad, are you still talking? Honey, you still talking? They want me to be quiet sometimes. But that's why, I need my own studio. I'm working on that. I need to go away from home and create a studio atmosphere to where everybody feels good about being there, and that Roman is yelling in the background. And all that. No, it's just it is what it is. Because I talk a lot in the house. I guess I always, according to my wife, I always have something to say, and it's not untrue. That's not untrue. I actually do have something to say most of the time, and I'm trying not to say things because sometimes I'm trying not to say things, but some things are just don't look right, don't act right, don't sound right, and I say something about it. A lot of things just don't look right, sound right. You say, what happens if it looks right, sound right? Now you got nothing to say. That's what it is. Or I say, oh, I agree with that. Pretty much how that works. Boom. What do you say? What did artist Jay say? Honey boom. Yeah, I wouldn't say that. But it was funny because he was like, honey boom. He's like, regular guys don't say that. And I would have to agree. I would my first guess, my first thought of my mind would not to say honey boom. But that was funny. This is Jockwave TV. I'm King David B. This is the David Brewer Show. Live. Aren't you glad that you tuned in to my channel, looking at my face? I am. What is there to talk about today? You know what's funny and interesting? My coffee is now chilly, and I need to warm it up. That's first and foremost. I need to warm up my coffee. What is this on the table? No, I need to warm up my coffee. I'm gonna have a seat. Just a second. I'm trying to readjust. This is live TV. This is what we do on live TV. I don't know what they do on real live TV, like on other live TV, like at an actual studio, or what they do at what's Candy Coated Nights studio office, whatever. I don't know what they do there. I like to interview the housewives too. I don't think Andy Cohen should be the one interviewing them because he's like the producer of the show. I don't think it's cool that he produces the show and he interviews them, so they can't really say certain things to him. Well, they can, but they be getting kicked off the show, for like silly stuff. Yeah, they get kicked off the show for like oh, we're not gonna have her back, man. And they want to bring them back when their ratings slip. So supposedly everybody's coming back. Sheree is coming back. Phaedra's coming back. Kenya's coming back. They're gonna have all the people back, and then Nene is gonna be off the show for about like half the season, the first half of the season, because she beat up one of the producers, one of the cameramen. So I don't know if she beat him up, but she, they say she, assaulted him in some way, shape, or form. That's what I have a problem with. Nene is big. She's manly to a certain extent. I say manly. She's big. She's big, but she ain't really beat up no. She didn't really beat up no dude. Yeah, and maybe she could beat up some, but I'm just saying that camera dude, he got his shirt ripped. She might have scratched him a little bit. It ain't that big of a deal. We know that the Housewives show is better when Nene's on there. If Nene and Kenya are on there, I say Kenya is better with Kenya on there, Nene, and then I would say Portia and Candy. Those four people have to be on the show to make it a good show. If those four people aren't on the show together, it typically doesn't have. It's not a good show. I mean that's real. And that's being from a fan that has been watching from the beginning. The other person on there that I didn't like him. I just didn't like her. She bothered me. She bothered me. That's all. She bothered me. It wasn't that she was white and racist. It was that she was white and racist. You know. You said what? What does that mean? And so I would explain it to you. I'm not gonna explain it though. I'm not. If you don't understand it, then you won't understand it. But it wasn't that she was white and racist, but it was that she was. It was the fact that she was white and racist. He said, "Well, she's like, oh, I'm not racist. I have the black chick working for me. Yeah, okay, that's like saying I'm not racist because I have slaves. See, I have black people making my dinner. That makes absolutely no sense, right? Right. Ooh. You know, sometimes it's hard to focus on the camera itself, and you be looking at the screen, you know, but pardon me, I'm trying to work on looking into the camera lens so you can feel like I'm talking to you personally. Thank you very much. Now, think about it like this. Nene, like I said, when Kenya came on the show, like I said, she was very great addition to the show. I liked Portia when she came on the show. Like I said, Portia is these people are entertaining. I want to interview these people too. I think I should be over the reunion show. You see, I don't know if I am clever, the quote unquote clever enough for it to be on the show, for the comebacks and the shades and what else, all that crap that they do. I think I'm pretty clever though. I think I'm pretty clever. Sometimes I'm not quick with my cleverness. It might take like about 3.5 minutes for me to come back with something, but definitely, I think that I should be sitting on the stage with these real life celebrities. Now, I'll be honest. I live in Atlanta. Well, I live right outside of Atlanta, but I, do a lot of work in Atlanta, Buckhead, so Gwinnett County, DeKalb, Fulton. I don't see anybody. I ain't seen now one of these people ever. Now, where they be at? They be like, oh, yeah, we around. I don't ever see anybody. I ain't seen none of these housewives in my life. I guess they busy, there's only one person. I see one person, because they have like these limo services that they use, these nice car services that they use. I'm a professional Uber driver, so that's probably why I don't see them. But I have seen Married to Medicine guy before, a couple of those guys before, a couple of their husbands, some of the husbands on Married to Medicine. I don't remember their names right now. I can't think of the names. The one that was with the one and the one with the other. The big bald guy, and then the guy that was him and his wife were going to divorce a couple seasons ago. I think they got it back together now. But I think that's it. But what I'm doing right now is preparing myself for the run of production that I'm going to have in the coming years. I would say within the next 5 years, I will be on TV. I'll be on YouTube frequently. I will be on many of these social media sites. I will be in the forefront of the television media and things like that. And I would say media in general. I'll be in the forefront within the next 5 years. And I'm saying in the next 5 years because I'm laying the groundwork right now. But I think it's necessary because what we are getting inundated with at this point in time is nothing but, I would say, feminine voices. Big ups to Oprah. I'm not necessarily an Oprah fan, but I give her big ups because she was a pioneer. And I would say, with as far as women is concerned, she was a pioneer. She's a pioneer in the industry of television, and I would say just as a businesswoman in general, she's a pioneer. Definitely I separate women and black women. Not that black women aren't women. I'm saying that black women have been treated differently than white women. Put Roman on the pot, please. Black women have been consistently treated differently than white women. So the whole woman struggle is not limited to one group of women. It's like all women are, I'm every woman type of thing. Like Shai Khan said, I'm every woman, or Whitney Houston said, I'm every woman. Black women, like this is what I said before, that black people create pop culture. We created popular culture in this country. We created popular music. We created everything that's popular, sayings and things like that. Black people created, I say everything, most things in this country. We get credit for very little. And at this point in time, with the Black Girl Magic movement, black women are getting, and I want to call it, because I say we, because they're black. To me, first, he's like, oh, I'm a woman first. Like, no, actually, you're black first. But I don't want to say that. But I'm saying you are together, first and foremost, you are a black woman. That's what it is. You're a black woman. My mom's a black woman. So we can't limit. I would say we can't put a cap on that and say, well, no, they stand in the gap for all women. And I'm saying, yes, they do. They are every woman. Yes, black women are every woman. But he said, well, that's how when the whole woman struggle is together. And I say, no, it's not though, because black women are paid less than white women. Black men are paid less than everybody. So put them, check it. Hey, check the pot, and if he didn't use it, put him back on it. Thank you. So the women's struggle in this country has nothing to do with feminine, with being a woman, as much as it has to do with being, I would say, let me say the right. Forgive me. The woman's struggle is a struggle, but I said there's more of a struggle being a black woman than there is being a white woman. White women were slave owners. Okay, don't get it twisted. There was white women. There were white women who were slave owners. You say, well, there were black slave owners too. Well, if those black slave owners would have came against, I would say, some other whites, they probably would have became white slave owners, black slaves. So they were just lucky. I say the black slave owners were lucky. Let's be real about this. Come on now. Come on. The black slave owners were slave owners only because those few that were, they were only slave owners because the white people allowed it to be. Not because that was just a normal thing. But the separation, there's a civil war with men and women going on. It's a Cold War at this point in time, but there's a civil war going on with men and women. It started with white women versus white men, but they always band together when it came to race. Do you understand what I'm saying? White women and white men always band together when it came to race, when it came to community and culture. They always banded together. For whatever reason, we as black people, we take some things that the white culture or the white community gives us, and we don't band together in that same way. What is it called? Black Girl Magic and the Black women movement of this day. You say you possess a lot of power. All right, what are you doing to band the community, to bring the community together? Like I said, white women aren't doing that to bring. They're not going to shut their community down to make themselves look to become more. They're gonna make their culture and their community come up. They're gonna raise the level of their children and of their community. They're gonna band together with that white man, with that white husband, with that white family. They're gonna band together and become great. But they're separating black people. You understand what I'm saying? If you're not, they're separating us while they're coming together. You know, they're taking the single mothers and saying, because you're single mothers, you should be, because you're single mothers. Oops. Because you're single mothers, you should, you're doing it by yourself, and focus on yourself and yourself. There's no community there. There's just you. There's no man, because we don't need no men. See, that's the foolishness that they tell black women. Black women are the only women that say that. Black women are the only women who say that stupid crap because they've been fed it as if it's true. We don't need no man. Only women say that in black women. You know why? Because they're the only ones that have been convinced that they don't need a man at all. Why don't you hear that everywhere in every culture? Because every culture bands together to help each other out and support. And they know that starts with, in a sense, the nurturing mother. So they don't say stupid stuff like that, but they have convinced black people that they need to say that. We don't need anybody. I can do it by myself. It's foolish. It's a foolish thought. It's a foolish thought. Listen to my wife say. Only black men run out of their families.
I said
Most black men run away from their families. Have been run out, and white men didn't do that.
Which I'm not saying that other people didn't do it.
Mexicans don't do that.
The
majority of black men
have made black women minds that way, because
black men have done this.
Don't never get their stuff together.
Black men don't get their stuff together.
They either run out, and black women are sick of it.
Black women are sick of it.
Like, I don't need a man.
I don't need a man.
Because they run out anyway.
Because they run out anyway. Do you see? This is the propaganda. This is what happens when you've been fed this your entire life.
It's not about it. It's just been happening so much.
This is what happens when she said she's and I think it's a great thing she said at the right time. She said exactly what I'm saying. Black women have been fed this same thing, that black men are no good, that they all cheat, that everybody runs away, nobody's staying and being a father, everybody does. Yeah, okay. That's why I said the Civil War has been created, not by black people, but it's been created by the white power structure to tell you that this is what happened. This is what happened in the black community. They're telling us what's happened in the black community, and then we are relaying and replaying. I don't see that for myself.
You, of course, because you're a male.
Right. I'm a male. And the black male perspective has never been heard. It's rare for the black male perspective to be heard. Why is the black male perspective not being heard? Not because we choose not to be heard, but we're not being heard because we are being locked out of that. Why are black men the lowest in every industry or in every place in this country? Why are black men at the bottom?
Because most of them don't even care.
You're saying it has to do with them. Why? Okay. You actually believe that they don't care about their own families. Most of them. That would be 9 out of 10, 8 out of 10, 6 out of 10. You're telling me that you get 10 black men and they don't care about their families.
The reason this has been said
6 out of 10.
Black men.
Who started it? Do you think black women started that?
Maybe they have, but I'm saying the reason.
Do you think black women started that?
I don't know who started it.
Do you believe that? Would you believe that white people started that?
They could have started
that rumor?
They could have started that, but based on experience, based on what black women go through, men actually walk out. Men actually don't do their job. I mean, point blank. And women are fed up. It happens so much that women become fed up to the point where they say, "I don't need no man to take care of me."
Only black women say that.
That's what I'm saying. And because of.
Don't you think that's odd? Don't you think that's odd that only
It's not odd. You can see it with your own eyes.
Don't you think it's odd that only people that say they don't need a man is black women?
For example, Kristen just had a baby.
Black woman.
Where is what's his name? I mean, they don't step up to the plate.
Can I ask you? Well, see, I don't want to get into people's names specifically, but with somebody that you're talking about, she just had a child with a man who she knew is doing what? Is she aware of that man's situation?
I don't know. I don't want to get into that. You actually see this stuff going on. Women, there are men who.
Can I tell you something? Let me explain something to you. White men, slave owners, were having babies with slaves while they were married, and the wives did not say, "We don't need no man." Do you get it? White men were committing adultery and rape. They were raping people in the house that their wives were living in. And they were having babies by these women that they were raping. Okay? No, it's not. The difference is you're not getting what you're saying, though.
What I'm saying is, why would you settle for somebody who is not even trying to be?
Who are you talking about settling for? The point I'm bringing up is that there is a divide between black men and black women because white people have made it a purpose to tear us apart.
Okay, but so you saying,
and you have fed into that belief.
So you saying that the reason black men don't do what they're supposed to do in a relationship in the family, you saying that?
I'm saying that there is no disproportion.
White people are the reason black men don't do what
I'm saying there's no disproportion in black men who don't do and white men who don't do, or Hispanic men who don't do, or Asian men don't do. If you went and did the research and got the numbers, I'm telling you that in every culture it would be about the same amount of men.
It may have, but you just talking about the black men.
Well, of course I'm talking about black men because I'm black. I'm saying that black women are the only people. You look, if you did the numbers would tell you that in every culture, all men would do the same. I say all men. The number of men who do that is the same. The percentage of men who leave their homes or don't care about their family is about the same in every race, culture, or whatever. It's the same. But the only people who say we don't need a man or I don't need no man, the vast majority is on black women because they've been fed the belief that they don't need it because that tells them to separate their family.
And a lot of times black women have
You cannot build by yourself.
One, you go through a lot being black, period. But as a black woman, in doing things, trying to be independent, or trying your best to try to keep a family, because
divide and conquer is my point.
It's very rare that it's so. Let's say it's so many. It's so less of families. These days it's so less of mother and father households in the black community.
It's in every community.
Okay, maybe every community.
But it's worse. You say if it's worse in the black community, it's worse because of what you're exactly what I'm saying. It has gotten worse because their idea is divide and conquer.
Because
how can you destroy a community?
Black women feel like they don't have time. You already go through so much, and then the fact on top of it with a man, just not taking care of their responsibilities is like it makes me fed up.
Do you believe that there are white women? So you're saying that you don't believe that there are white men who don't?
I'm not saying that.
Well, you can't say the other women.
I'm just saying it's so many because I feel like black women go through a lot.
I'm saying so you don't believe that there are white men who don't take care of their children?
I believe that.
You don't believe that there are white men who will beat their wife?
I believe
You don't
all
believe that
of
there are
that.
white men who commit crimes?
I believe
You don't
all
believe that there are white men who walk out on their family?
I believe that.
But you think that, well, no, but it happens more in with black community.
I'm just.
And the fact that you are black saying that is proving my point.
No, what I'm saying is, as a black woman, we already feel like you go through so much already, and then to have a man that's not doing his job on top of that is very worrisome.
When a man doesn't do their job in a white community, a woman doesn't say, "I don't need you." She says, "Let me help you get there." When a Hispanic man is not doing his job, they don't say, "I don't need you." They don't say, "I don't need no man." They say, "Let me help you get there." In every community, it is, "Let me help you get there." In the black community, we're saying, "I don't need you anymore. Discard you." Because we've been fed that by the white power structure. That you don't need no man because he's not doing what he needs to do. And we all do white people, we do everything we need to do.
I'm not saying that they do. I'm saying black women go through enough already. And to have something like that added, that is just
black women go through enough of what?
And I'm not saying either. And that could be true too, as far as them being conditioned by the white people saying, they don't need, black people don't need no, black women don't need no man or whatever. And that may be true, but at the same time, black women already feel like, you're already poor, you're already black. I mean, you go through so much, and then to have somebody.
What's going through? I don't get the so much.
Especially being a mother, period.
I don't get the so much. We're not. There's no more slavery, so you're not being raped by the white masters anymore.
It's not easy to get to things. It's not easy to get things.
Do you think it's easier for black women or black men right now?
It's easier for black women, but I'm saying just being a black person, period. It's not easy like how it is.
That's what I was. That is the point that I'm making.
It's not easy.
That's the point that I'm making. That if we learned to work together, the point I'm saying is that black women are enjoying rich success in a sense right now. Black women are in fashion, they're in style, everything. You know what I'm saying? It's going their way in a sense. Do you get it? That's my point. Now the time is to say, let's pool our black community together with the success that the black women have.
The black men don't want to be part of this today.
Why wouldn't black men want to be successful?
You can't make a man do stuff.
I don't get what you're saying.
I don't get it. Because you can't. Women have tried to think that they can change a man.
It's not about changing. It's not about changing anybody.
Well, if you,
I'm not talking about you get with somebody and you're trying to make him into somebody you want him to be. I'm saying you help the people who want to be something.
Okay. Well, it's not a lot of them.
That's not true.
Okay.
That's the belief that you've been fed by the news, which is ran by white people. Not experience hasn't taught you that. Because you have not experienced the plethora of black people who are doing well in the country. The vast majority of black people are middle class. I just listened to Malcolm X. He said this 50 years ago. And that was when there was only, maybe 10 million black Americans in the country? 12 million? Okay. Now we're maybe 40 million or 50 million. Okay. But the percentage is still the same. Okay. As far as most of black people are middle class. Whether you're low middle class or high middle class, most of them are middle class. Middle class. That would be, I think what he said, I think he said 10 million black people in it, black Americans. 2 million are part of that low class. He said 8 million black Americans. And he said, because I think something like 2 million are the ones who vote. But the vast majority of 8 million that don't vote. Okay? And think about that. That's 3/4? Am I wrong? 4/5. But I think I'm doing it wrong with math. 2 out of 10. Yeah, that would be 2/5. Yeah, okay. So 3/5. So the thought is this: that most of Black America is middle class. They're not low class. They're not high class. Most of Black America is middle class. They're doing the work. They're doing everything that they need to do. They have families. Their fathers are there. That's most of Black America. You've been fed a lie to believe that most of Black America is doing something else. It's a lie. Most Black Americans in the projects are going through something. Most of Black Americans in the quote-unquote ghetto are going through something. Yeah, that's the same everywhere. But most white Americans that are in the trailer parks are going through the same thing that the Black Americans are going through in the ghetto. But they don't hear about that because they keep that out of the news. They don't talk about the white guys who are raping people. They don't talk about the white guys who are in gangs. They don't talk about the white guys who are murdering people, unless it's a sensational murder. Unless he's a Jeffrey Dahmer where he's murdered a lot of people. You understand what I'm saying? But if he only murdered 2, they ain't gonna talk about it. You understand? But if a Black man shoplifts from the corner store and runs, it's on TV. That's what I'm trying to get you to understand. That the success that Black women are having at this point in time it should be a push for the Black community, not for women. But white women are using Black women to push women. Do you get what I'm saying? White women, the power structure, is using Black women to push their own agenda and calling it the woman's movement. And they've been doing this for a long time. That's my point. But Black women having success, as I give respect to Oprah, she had a lot of success, but if she's pushing the movement of white women, then she's not successful in the way she should be as a Black woman. Being successful in Black should push the Black community, right?
Why isn't there a Black man movement?
Huh? Why isn't there a Black man movement? Have you seen some of these movies or some of these documentaries that I played for you? The 13 and When They See Us. Malcolm X was killed. Martin Luther King was killed. What's his name? Bobby? No. Medgar Evers killed. A lot of the positive male leaders are killed because of knowledge.
They limit themselves because of what happened before, or because of what people say.
Huh?
So Black men limit themselves because of.
You said that wasn't your original question. I'm answering the question that you asked about why isn't there a Black male movement? The movement of Black males are being stopped. Do you get it?
They were being, yes.
They have been, and they still are being.
Okay. So
if they can stop you before you get there, don't you think that's the idea of the vast the majority of arrests that go on and jailing that goes on? If we can stop them from at an early age, you understand? From being anything, we gotta stop them there. How do you prevent that? How do you prevent or create that? You take them and you put them in a cage, and you create animals. That's how that works. You think that you actually believe that people choose to be less than successful?
Some people do, yes.
Yeah, some people do, but it's the same number of people in the Black community that it is in the white community. But you don't know any white people.
I'm not trying to.
So you can't speak on both. You can't speak on.
Better than Black people at all.
Well, it's essentially if you're saying black men are this and the black folks are like this, then you are saying black people are worse than.
No, I'm going
by your statement, you don't have to say white people are better. By your statement saying black men are no good, you're making a statement that white men are better.
I'm speaking based off what you're talking about. That's all. You said black first. You started out by saying only black women say they don't need.
Which is the truth. Now I'm saying.
You said you never heard a white woman say they didn't need a man.
I haven't heard. I have to say that I have to answer that with the right words. When I say I haven't heard, I'm saying it's a normal thing in the black community to say I don't need a man. White women don't use that as a. I'm saying the vast majority of white women that I've even heard maybe say that I've heard say that don't say it as with a mentality that this is actually with the same mentality that black women are saying that. The white woman movement and the black woman movement are two different movements. That's my point.
Oh, okay. I'm just responding based on what you're saying.
Well, my point about talking about that saying that the majority that's a known thing in the black society is black women saying that. We're the only one that say that.
Okay, but I'm not saying nothing about white people being better or anything. I'm just going based off what I know because I don't be around white people.
Right.
So I don't know what.
And you never have been around white people like that.
I don't know what.
So you wouldn't know that you couldn't compare the two. But I have been around them.
And I have never tried to compare the two.
But that's what I'm doing. Like I'm comparing the two. You can't compare the two. Right. You can't compare it if you don't know.
No, I'm going based off I'm responding based off what you're saying about black people. That's all.
Well, yes. Okay.
I'm not comparing white people and black people because I don't.
Well, that's what I'm doing. You can't. I'm comparing that. I'm comparing black women or the black movement in a sense. I'm comparing black folks to. I am comparing it because that's why I'm saying that you don't hear this in any other culture other than black people. Yes, women say it in a lot of different places when they are that thing. They say, I don't need no man. When they are. Yeah. Right? That's when they say. A lot of them say it when they are that.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. I'm talking, but my thing is, I'm mainly talking about the straight ones, the normal ones.
That's what the ones I was talking
The vast majority of normal or straight.
Did you do this?
Don't do that. They don't say that in any other culture but black. And that's my point. And saying that the success that is being being had by the Black Girl Magic and all of this stuff, I think is great. I think it's fantastic. I don't have a problem with that. My daughters are black. No problem with them being successful. I have an issue when we can't pull each other up. You understand what I'm saying? And you're being taught not to pull each other up. That's what I'm saying. Through all of this success, how are we being pulled upwards to help each other? Because how it works is the one who has the influence, the one who has the power. Did he poo-poo?
No, but I just said a little pee and
Okay, that means he's gonna poo. That means he's gonna do it at some point in time. So that's my point. It's just that's what I'm trying to say. It's not about not. I am comparing other groups to black women because it says that black women are the only ones who are sticking to the idea of what you're even saying. I don't need this person. I don't need you. but you have sons. And what do you rate? How can you train? And this is what the breakdown of the black community is. You have single mothers talking like that around their own sons. So what does that tell? What does that tell your sons? If you're saying, if as a black woman you're telling your sons here, you say, I don't need no man in my life. I don't need no black man. I don't need no man. And in a sense, you're saying that they're worthless. You're saying they're worthless.
It's not like that. It's not like I'm sure it's not like when most black women say that. It's not like they saying it just because they're who they are. No, they saying it because of the type of men they have been with, the type of men they are being with.
They're children's fathers.
Either that or they don't even have to be that.
Well, that's what it is. How can you say it if you have?
I'm saying it don't even have to be their children's father. It could be somebody who, somebody else's father. I mean,
how can you talk about somebody else's father?
It could be just a person they don't even have to have a child with them. And I'm just saying, that's the type of black males that they are. You don't need everybody that come your way.
Nobody does that when everybody comes your way. Nobody does that.
But my thing is,
unless you're a hoe.
Because of I'm saying the majority of women say that because of the majority of the men they have been with.
But they've chosen those men.
Exactly, and that's why they get fed up, because they don't see anything else, because
they keep choosing the same guy over and over again.
But how do you know a person until you actually?
If you keep choosing the same, that's like saying if I keep buying the same car over and over again, the same thing keeps happening. Wouldn't you, in a sense, why would you expect something different to happen if you keep purchasing the same thing? Or if you keep getting the same, if you keep looking for or getting the same thing, that's you're looking for the same thing. Over and over again. That's what happened. I don't care if that to me, that doesn't make a difference if you are white, black, or Asian, or Hispanic. If you keep on dealing with the same person, you're going to get the same thing. The difference is, and I'm saying the difference is that the idea that I don't need this person or need these people doesn't come from doesn't come from, like I said, most of the time you won't hear that from any other. I was saying you don't hear that from any other culture. It's prevalent. It's a known thing in black with black women in the black community, and black women say this thing: I don't need a man. And then, but yet and still, this is why here's the huge contradiction. I don't need a man, yet and still have the nerve to say something to the effect of, what's wrong with our boys?
Yeah.
But you can't say both. You can't say I don't need you, but then why are our boys acting like this? Well, you have perpetuated it.
No,
by your saying I don't need you here. I don't need you. I don't need you.
You don't think men play a part in it?
If you tell me you don't need me, where should I go?
That's the thing. When men give up so easy, and they.
How is that giving up? You said you don't need me.
No. The thing is men are so ready to accept the restrictions.
What restrictions?
Of what men can't do.
Who says they can't do it?
Because this. Oh, I can't do this because of this.
You're saying you don't need something. When you say you don't need something, why should you be there? You don't need me. Why would I be there?
It's a reason. Women ain't gonna just say that just because you gonna, if you act like you're not worthy, then that's when a woman say that. They ain't gonna just say that just because. When you act like you're not worthy of being with, then that's when a woman say that. But women ain't gonna just plain out say that if they got a good man. They ain't gonna say that.
Well, how can you get a good man if you're saying you don't need one?
If somebody want to be wanted. That's how you get one. If a good one come up.
And I'm speaking from not just from David, a human being in the world. I have to come from the idea of man of God, and what the word of God would even back me up to say. The idea that makes, I guess, in the world that makes sense. I'm coming, but I have to come from not just from the world perspective, but I got to come from the Bible perspective. And the idea that you have a lot of quote unquote so-called Christians who say that foolishness.
I guess
that's foolish in the sight of God.
I think what they need to be saying is they're waiting on the Lord to send them a man.
That's foolish in the sight of God.
Waiting on the Lord to send them a man, because if you choose one on your own, you may choose the same one you've been choosing.
Right.
So that when you talk now, you're talking about based on the word of God. And
I've always talked about it that way because that's my perspective. It comes from this, and then it comes from me.
Okay, but
I go from the word of God and from myself. It's all in me.
Okay, well with that,
I don't break it. I don't separate. Well, let me come from the word of God now, and then no, it's all. That's where all of my opinions and things come from. It comes from. It's derived. All my stuff derives from the word of God. You didn't know that all of my stuff derives from the word of God?
I didn't know that you was talking about based on the Bible now.
Everything is based on the Bible.
I didn't know that. I didn't know that.
Every part of what I believe is based on Bible. What does, huh?
Everything that you talk about when you're doing your recording everything don't have nothing to do with the Bible. So
my opinions are based off of who I am.
I didn't know.
That's how everybody bases their opinions. Isn't that how you base your opinions? How can your opinions come from anything other than who you are? Huh?
Yeah.
I'm saying, how can
you're based on the Bible? Okay.
What do you mean now I'm based on the Bible? I'm saying that's a part of who I am.
Okay. All right. Well. Okay, well, with that being said, women, they need to just wait on God to send them a man. Because if any woman say that, then I can guarantee you, they basing it on the worldly men they have been with.
I don't think it has to do with being worldly.
Even some Christian men are not. Even Christian men are not. You can't. They all.
How do you teach your sons if you're telling their fathers they're not a necessity? If they hear you saying, "I don't need your type," how are you training your sons if you're telling them you don't need them?
They're not talking to their boys.
That's what their children hear, though.
So when we're talking about so what you think? What are you thinking?
Okay.
I mean, is that the same? When we sit up here saying what they don't.
I'm saying when your children's ears are there and they hear their mother say something negative to the point where I don't need a man.
Okay, so what if they don't say that? What if they don't say that around their children?
Well, if they don't say that, then their children wouldn't be able to hear it.
I'm saying, what if they don't say it around their children anyway?
Then 9 times out of 10, then they're not saying that. If they're not saying it in their face, 9 times out of 10, then they're probably not going to say it behind their back either.
Oh, well, I don't know. I'm done with conversation. I don't know what you're trying to. What are you?
I'm responding to what you said.
I'm like, okay. I done got all the. I done said all the.
And that's the point. We as black people are, like I said, they're in a civil war. We're fighting within ourselves because that's how it's been set up to do. It's a setup. What's the easiest way to destroy people? From the inside. If you can get them to destroy themselves. That's how that works. Convince them that they're worthless. Convince them that they're not a necessity to this life. Where is the black man movement? Well, the black man movement can't. There's more women than there are men. The black man movement can't get any footing, essentially, without women. The idea of women, actually, and say black women, of women thinking that they're doing things by themselves. A lot of times, if you do some research, men are backing. A lot of the wealthy men are backing the women. In the white power structure, there's definitely a lot of powerful men backing their women. In the black community, a lot of the men backing the women are white men. It's very interesting when you follow the money, which is like the word of God says, either it's me or it's money. That you can't serve two masters, and that's what it really comes down to. All of this stuff really comes down to God. But the civil war between black people is the fight to say, I don't need you, you don't need me, we don't need each other.
No, man.
We're training families to hate each other, disrespect each other. Families, it's bloodlines that don't hate each other. Teaching each other to hate each other. That's detrimental to the movement in every case. The idea is that we all need each other. That's really the truth. A man can't have a baby without a woman can't have a baby without a man, period. Life ceases to exist without both of us. Period. Life ceases to exist. Well, there's technology that can, and that's what you go to. There's technology. Technology burns out. It fades out. It fails. Technology cannot do that. Technology cannot replace what God placed. It's impossible. Technology cannot replace God. But this is Jackwave TV. I'm King David B. This is the David Brewer Show. And that was an enjoyable conversation. It was an enjoyable discussion. Some would be on one side, some would be on the other. I'm for being together. And that's how we build. But we got to get out the mindset that we are one race at this point in time, because we're not. We don't see things that way. And the only way we're going to see it that way is when we, in a sense, what the Constitution or the Declaration of Independence says, when it's not working anymore, we got to throw it away and create something new. That's the Declaration of Independence. They have the right words in there. When it's not working, throw it away and start new. We're not doing that, because we know if we throw it away and start new, then the power structure will be different. And that's why there's such a fight against black folks, period. Thank you for joining me. This is live TV, Jackwave TV, Jackwave, David Brewer Show. I'm King David B. I'll see you again another day. Thank you and good day.